How often do you silence your dreams because they feel impractical or because someone else has told you that it's not a good idea for whatever reason? I'm Tanya Rutherford from Queen Bee Rising, and this is an episode that's actually really close to my heart. So, when I was in high school, I wanted to become a teacher. I wanted, particularly a primary school teacher. That was what my aim was. And my parents were both primary school principals, and they were like, "No, you don't want to do it. It's just getting really hard, and it's not going to be what you want." And they actually wanted me to become an engineer, which I'm not an engineer. That's not my brainwave. That's not how I work. But it really lost me because I was a good girl. I did what I was told, and I trusted that they knew better. And even though that was what was calling me, silenced it. I pushed it down and I didn't know what to do then. So I just did again what I was told. Okay, don't have the grades for engineering. Why don't you become an accountant? Okay, like accounting's not me. So not me. But what I noticed when I look back over time is that, like, I knew straight away it wasn't my gig, but I did it. I knew that I could get work in that. And that was the drive. It was very practical. And then when I started working in that space, I knew that people were more my thing. So I started changing the way I did things. The roles that I took on were more about people, moved into management. And then I got my first taste of running workshops. And I was hooked. I was like, yes, training. This is pretty close to teaching. This is my happy space. And it was like a huge transformation, or it's the start of a huge transformation. So initially, I did a lot of management skills training and leadership skills training. I did my coaching qualifications, and I really moved more into that professional development space. But at heart, I still wanted to do more than that. Like, it felt very, well, I mean, it is very corporate kind of space. And I wanted to really help people to understand more about themselves and their own drivers. And so the coaching did that, but I really wanted to do that in group settings more than just one-on-one. And group coaching wasn't a thing back then, can I tell you? And so I found myself moving more into that personal part of the professional development. So understanding who we are, our awareness, and seeing people actually blossom, not just because they learned a new skill, but because they had learned about themselves. And why I'm sharing this with you is that our theme today is really around, rediscovering or actually discovering what our passions are, what is our driver, and how do we then bring that into our lives where we may have not felt comfortable or safe to do that in the past. Because when it's something that's really in alignment with who we are, those opportunities keep coming up in different ways. And it's up to us to decide to say, actually, yeah, I'm going to try that out now. I'm going to test those waters. Maybe that is something as big as I'm going to do a career change. Yep, done that. And I'm going to do some new qualifications. So I might need to go back to study. And that can be really scary, right? It's also a huge time and cost, but also there's that sense that we have to justify why we're doing it, what's wrong with where we are now and how we're feeling now. Like, it still can be a real challenge just to justify to ourselves why we should be doing something that's different. And that's what I'm here to tell you is really important that we do. This is about starting to follow our path. This is about starting to unravel what's important to us so that we are living a fulfilled life. Now, if you are thinking of doing studying and you're not really sure how to start, apart from perhaps applying for whatever it is that you're wanting to study in, we will be running an intensive version of our Learn to Learn program in February. Now, to give you a bit of a background to this, I created this program when I was working in the university sector. I was looking after peer mentoring. I'd created and was running student leadership programs. But the conversations that I was having and the questions that were getting asked really highlighted for me that so many of us don't have any idea what we're doing when we start studying in the adult learning setup. And the reason is in high school, we're always told what to do, when to hand it in, what we need to submit, all the details, where to find it. In university, it is much more expected that you're driving it all yourself. And that can be really challenging if that's new to us. And I certainly remember my first time in university sitting in a lecture theatre looking around going, what do I do? Oh, everyone's just writing down what's on the board. I'll write down what's on the board. It's so hard to get started. And for many of us, when we haven't been there for a while, actually feeling confident in ourselves as learners is really critical. And so that's what's all in the Learn to Learn program is about understanding how we learn and how we can structure ourselves, our approach and our lives to really support us in our change. Now, beyond that, I really want you just to start thinking about what are the things that light you up? It might be a hobby that you can start. It might be going dancing. It might be drawing. It could be, getting involved in local community groups. It could be anything, but just something that actually brings more joy to your day. It's so important. And I'd love you to share with me how that's showing up for you. So your question for this week is, what would you do if desire was the only driver and not the practicalities? Let me know.